fuck no, and that's it. Oh, baby, take it slow. Oh, and that's it. Just take it nice and slow, and that's it. Let's all live with my no.
It's 2-2. It's 2-2. It's 2-2. The Leafs are 2 games. And the Washington Capitals are 2 games. It's back to fucking 0. That's what the fuck I'm talking about. And John, that fake laugh is enough to irritate my left testicle.
That's a funny thing that Phil said. What are you talking about?
2-2.
A chess game?
John, shut the fuck up.
A chess game,
it's
Frank.
Fake. It's back to 0.
You want to play backgammon instead?
Shut the fuck up!
Oh my God! You can't.
You won't shut the fuck up. I got to take a fucking hammer and fucking FedEx it to his head.
It was funny that Phil laughed. I'm laughing with Phil.
I'm trying to make a point, and John's fucking continuously talking.
Usually, there's nothing to your point.
It's back to 0, so all the men on a chessboard are back to their original positions. That's what I'm fucking talking about.
So when Phil says, what the fuck are you talking about? That's funny. That's funny, Phil.
Stop talking.
It's funny.
That's my point.
The lottery goes. You're not guaranteeing that at all.
Mark my words.
They've got to get.
I don't think the Las Vegas Knights are going to have a fucking problem putting ass in the seats. You mark my words. I think it'll be a thing to do in Vegas, like going to fucking see a show or going to see Elvis Presley sing in a fucking lounge. It's Vegas. You gamble, and then people gamble, and then they like to go see something. And I think that these packages that they're going to have all across the United States, where people are already going to Vegas, where they're going to make it cheap to fly and get a pair of tickets to see the and you did this. I think you were a pioneer who did this, where you could come and see a Lightning game and maybe have a round of golf. Or you put that together for Snowbirds, did you not, Phil? At the inception of the
we did that. We also did. We tried very hard with the schedule, except for the NFL wouldn't. Like when Chicago's Bears were coming down to play the Bucks on a Sunday, I tried to get a scheduled game with the Blackhawks on a Saturday night.
Mm-hmm. Well, that really wasn't my point. You got to get a number 1 or 2 pick in the next 2 or 3 years.
Well, you're right, but Perry said it. You're not guaranteed. You look at what New Jersey gets it. And they weren't the worst team. Colorado was the worst team.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's a lottery, and I don't think that you can count on that. I think you have to fundamentally build some sort of foundation of a team, and if you get a first or second or a third, you're doing okay. I just think that the guys who are behind the Las Vegas Knights, their mentality is exactly what Phil said a few minutes ago, to be competitive, because they're in a tough division, and if they're not, and they look like a weak team, nobody's going to go fucking see them. But what happened?
I never figured that out. I can't figure out how Target never worked in Canada.
Failed.
I never figured out how Target
because they
never
tried
worked
to
here.
use the approach in the States and Canada. They didn't look at the Canada model.
No, they didn't. They did not. If they would have used the same, I've been in this business for 30 years. If Target would have used their exact business model of the United States, they would have been extremely successful in Canada. You know what they did that made them fail?
What?
Changed their business model in Canada, completely different than their one in the United States. They blew their brains out. They blew $1 billion, and they ran, and they went back. They spent another $500 million to walk away from the leases, and that's the way it is. And Sears is going through the same massive beating right now. The game, okay? It has to do with that Cindy Crosby is in the playoffs. That's why those peeps are there. That's a fact. Yeah.
Frank, don't you think I would agree with my learned colleague over here? PK Subban has ramped up the viewership in Montreal, Quebec. Otherwise, there's no audience there.
Come on, Perry.
Right,
how much press?
Guys, you're both full of shit.
Yeah, of course we are, right? But how much hype did this guy get going into the final?
Me, both of you two guys, that the reason it's Subban that's bringing the peeps and it's not Sidney Crosby being in the playoffs?
No, Frank, that's not what as per usual, you didn't hear a word I said, right?
Obviously, I did not understand the fucking words you said.
Well, the word I said was that the audience is
said.
there for for PK Subban, which wasn't there last year, and they hyped the shit out of this guy. They did a documentary about this guy.
Yep.
Have you ever seen this much coverage on one particular
On
guy?
HBO they ran it, man.
This is what it's all about, Frank.
But
It's about his added presence.
Here's my point. No one knows who's going to win. When Chicago was in it, we knew. When the LA Kings were playing the Rangers, LA had the... No one knows who's going to win this. I think that's intriguing. Bill? Phil?
Yeah, I don't disagree.
Jill.
Not you, Frank. Bill. Bill.
And when you're soon, it's not going to be you either. You need to be quiet. For fuck's sakes.
Hey, guys, the ratings, the top two ratings are, of course, in Nashville and in Pittsburgh, and the third best rating in the United States in NBC, do you know where it is? Buffalo.
But it's fucking brutal. And I look like I'm going to go fucking ring a bell in the tower, right? And I'm driving with my left hand, right? Because my right shoulder, it's a fucking hump. And so I get to the hospital, right? So I had never taken Oxycontin in my fucking life. I don't even take aspirin, you know? When I get a headache, I just tell her to leave. Anyway, so...
How are you?
Hello, I'm here all week. Try the veal. So I get, so I go to the fucking hospital, and they pop my shoulder back in, and you could hear me in 7 floors because it was thing, right?
And in 7 languages.
Well, I said, go fuck yourself, you motherfucking doctor. I told the doctor that I was going to put him in emergency. So he says to me, take no more than 2. And you can take them every 6 hours, whatever, right? So I go, but is this going to help? He goes, it'll help you, right? So I go back to the office because I was in just too much pain to drive downtown. So I go to the office and I take these 2 fucking pills. Now, this is what these pills do.
Okay, what do they give you? What
You're
were they called?
Oxycontin.
Oxycontin.
Now, you still feel the pain, but you really don't give a fuck about it anymore.
That's right.
Come on, the guy's making $7 million a year, and he's got to go around like that and make all hockey players look like idiots.
Oh, Brett Burns, right?
That's a union problem, Phil. That's a union problem.
I guess so. It just bothers me, you know. I remember years and years ago when Bernie Parent, who could hardly speak English at the time, was on Mike Douglas, and Mike Douglas says, "What's it like? The guy shooting at you 90 miles an hour?" And Bernie goes, "The puck there, go to the leg there. Puck over there, go there." What the fuck? I'm thinking all hockey players, and Derek Sanderson on Johnny Carson with a cigarette in his mouth and shit-faced drunk.
And burning
What kind of
$100 bills.
that for hockey players?
Well, that's what, and they're supposed to be partners. If Donald Fear would allow one of his union members to appear like Brett Burns appeared, then shame on him.
Well,
I mean, the beard's one
let me tell you
thing, and if that's what he wants, but Jesus, bless me, you can afford better teeth.
Yeah, but guys, listen to me. I'm going to tell you, I'm a big fan of Wayne Gretzky. But when Wayne Gretzky was on Saturday Night Live, I was embarrassed for him.
Yeah, because the writing was terrible, and they were good writers.
And he was stiff as a board. And I'm a big fan of Wayne Gretzky.
I thought he was a little bit better last night. I did watch him present the MVP award to Connor McDavid, and I did watch Wayne. I thought he did a good job, actually.
You see, this neighborhood belongs to me. Everybody out there fears me.
So do I.
My name is Angelo Donatello.
Angelo Donatello and his little band of misfits.
I've been living in the moment.
We've got so much money, we don't know how to spend it all.
I need to see Angie.
You're trouble for me, Angelo.
Sometimes luck runs out.
Who took my money?
What the f did you guys do?
There's a contract on you, Angie.
From who?
Gianluca.
Vito, do what you gotta do.
I'm just too sad.
Welcome to the neighborhood. Tell me who you hang around with, and I'll tell you who you are. Small market. Calgary's a small market, and today their president went on the record that if he doesn't get a new fucking rink, Burke said he's moving the team.
Where's he going to move the team?
Yeah, where's he going to move the team?
To Buffalo. I don't know. Right?
Yeah.
He's just blowing off steam.
China.
They say that it's
China.
listen to me. They say that Calgary has had the warmest winter in its history because of all the hot wind that's coming out of Burke.
Yep. And here's something. Does anybody here, and I may be the lone guy here, does anybody here look at this and say the NHL expansion draft's going to happen in about a week? I happen to be more interested in that than I am in the NHL Stanley Cup Series. Am I wrong?
I'm interested in the Stanley Cup Series. I think it's exciting, and it breaks my fucking heart that we're at the playoffs, and Saturday nights I'm going to have to watch reruns of one of my movies or a picture of a foot because there's fuck all on television. And I don't want to watch news anymore because it's depressing.
Millionaires of going to Vegas and getting all partied up before the games. That's not going to happen. The players who play in Vegas will live out in the outskirts of the suburbs.
I tell you, if they can
it's not going to happen with them either.
If they can get more partied up than the people in Nashville, then they'll be fucking unconscious.
Right, but you know what I'm saying.
I watched, on television, everybody's drinking like they were going out of style.
Right, that was
Frank.
Quite the atmosphere.
Hammered. If there's 18,000 people there, at least 12 of them are stiff.
Yeah. So when John says they're worried about fucking Vegas, if you drink more than Nashville, you're just going to be fucking unconscious. Everybody will be lying down.
Yeah.
What about Ottawa? Ottawa goes and spends $1 gazillion on a backup goalie. What the fuck's up with that? Here's a team that says that they have a very small wallet. Why would you go blow your brains out on a fucking backup goalie? Perry, am I fucked here? Am I misunderstanding it?
I just want to say one thing. I followed free agency. I don't even know who was the backup goalie and why. That's the one free agent signing I must have missed. Who was it?
Condon, the former Hab, is the backup goalie in Ottawa.
And they would have paid him more than $1 million a year just to be the backup. How much did he get?
He didn't deserve it.
You got the Hamburglar too. So
how much
but the Hamburglar's on his way out.
Yeah.
And why would they lose Alfredson, Tony? I'm sorry to interrupt, Perry. What the hell was that?
Yeah, well, I mean, there's a lot of conjecture. I mean, at the end of the day, the guy's made, $55 million or so in hockey. So I don't know if he was I don't think he was making a lot of money in his role. I think he's got 4 kids, and obviously, there's a lot of rumors and speculation that him and, Mr. Melnick aren't, on the same page. But I think he doesn't need the money.
But guys, you guys are
got
moving.
a young family.
Looked like a slap in
You
the face
guys are
to me.
moving away from the fucking point here.
Looks like a slap in the
Why
face.
would you pay a backup goalie that kind of money unless you're going to move your fucking main goalie out?
I cannot see that happening.
I read the other day.
I've never
Backup
I
goalies
would
start about 18 to 20 games, so there's 40 points right there
Yeah,
for a
but that-
backup goalie to win
That's
for
big
you.
money from a small market
What
team.
happened to the Leafs this year? If they had a good backup goalie, they would have been.
You can't compare the Leafs with Ottawa,
But don't you
who's a
see what I'm
small
saying
market.
with their
no,
lack of
I
backup
don't.
goaltending?
That's not my point. You're missing my point as usual. I'm
How much
telling
did he
you.
get? Do you know how much he got? Guys, can you tell us how much he got?
$2.4 million.
You
That's
know what,
big money for a backup goalie.
$2 million he got.
40 points.
2.4. I'm reading.
up for grabs.
I'm reading 2.4 million on the screen.
Look how many points the Leafs lost
I'm
in
reading-
shootouts
he's
and in
a
overtime.
He's a decent.
I'm not going to take anything away.
Yeah.
But a small market team that's trying to build themselves out of what happened to them this year, and they pay that kind of money to a backup goalie. It's two things to me. It reads to me that maybe they might trade their number one goalie, and this is their insurance policy.
The remnants of Republican policies. I mean, Democratic policies. So he has done fuck all. He's done nothing. And this is a guy, you know, you guys could go back, our guys can find it, where he was smarter than the generals. He knew more about ISIS than the generals, that as soon as he took office, there'd be no more ISIS. Well, that's not happening. As soon as he came into office, the first thing he was going to do is build a wall. That's not happening. As soon as he came into office, he already had a plan. He's a businessman. He's made billions and billions and billions of dollars in deals for the bankruptcies of all his company. And he was going to put a better medical plan, better than anybody has ever seen in the world. That was the first thing. He was going to repeal Obamacare and put together a plan to help every single American in the United States. Well, let me fucking tell you right now, if there was 20 million or 19 million people that were secured and covered and insured with Obamacare, there's nobody. It's gone backwards. It's fucked. So if anybody fucking comes to me, and I got a lot of cousins in the United States that were, ladies and gentlemen, I say were as a past tense, Trump supporters. They're not Trump supporters anymore.
No, I think he's lost. I think he's lost the majority of those.
Well, Bill, what soured you on him? You seem to be backtracking, buddy. Talk to me.
He's not backtracking. He's telling you that he can't understand them anymore and he can't defend them anymore.
Well, was there a flick of a switch, Bill, that just went off, or what?
No. I just feel that when you're stupid, you're stupid.
You can't fix stupid.
So let's go back. Is that what the Toronto Maple Leafs have a hard-on about? Is it the television rights?
No, it's just basically they own the property. They don't want to share the property. Will there come a team that'll play in Toronto and Markham? Probably. Is it going to take like 5 years? Probably.
But with expansion, wouldn't that expedite it?
No, they don't want expansion. They want a team that's already made.
John, there's not going to be an expansion. You got to realize that the Hurricanes are drawing. Bill, what are they drawing? 5,000, 6,000 people in the Rangers?
Good, Frank. They have a lot of crowds of that number.
But what about the 32nd team, Frank? You said you have it on high authority. There's going to be a team moving. Where did you say?
Seattle would be the most likely place.
Someone said West Coast. Sure.
They're
dying for another team here. Dying.
The fans are dying for another team, but the Toronto Maple Leafs have their own agenda. They don't care about the fans. They never have cared about the fans.
Perry, you mentioned you don't think you care about the television rights?
I think they do care about the television rights, but what I don't think they want to do is I don't think they want to share their territory. If you, the thing is, like, how much further can the television rights go in the U.S.? Sportsnet, how much was that? 5 years or 12 years of $5.2 billion?
Billion.
Is
the
that
ratings did go up this year, by the way.
I hope they're going to go up with all the Canadian teams are in it, but do you actually think they'll hit that kind of number again?
Well, that's all I remember is when the Islanders and the Devils, when the Devils moved from Colorado there, the Rangers got money. I don't know, I think they got $18 million when the Islanders came in for the television rights. And it was
Phil, that's a good point because whoever was the president of the league at the time, got the three of them together because the Islanders came in, the Devils came in. The Rangers wanted money, the Flyers wanted money. The commissioner made the league. Stick the boundary rule up your ass. And on that one, I have to leave. See you, boys.
Yeah. Did everyone think, Phil, and anyone can jump in, I mean, with the not Chico Resch, but the Rogie Vachons and the Johnny Bowers, they're all like 5'6", 5'7". Dryden comes along. Did anyone, remember 71, did anyone think that, hey, maybe bigger is better? But it never really phased into that, did it?
What are you talking about? Cesar Mandiego was a big band.
Well, yeah, but there was an exception. That's another anomaly. They were all short. They were all short.
But I agree with what you're saying, John.
Okay.
But what happened is, it started, from the Palmatiers. Tony Esposito is 5'10" and a half. Phil's taller than his brother.
Yeah.
But the goalies started getting big, I would say, in the early 80s and the late 70s. I mean, and Kenny Dryden was a big guy.
Yeah.
Cesar Mandiego was a big guy, and then they started coming in big. Who's the guy for the Hartford Whalers, the redheaded goalie?
Sean Burke.
Sean Burke. Sean Burke was a big giant.
Yes, it was Gary the Axe Smith.
Yeah.
Suitcase, yeah.
Smith was a big goalie too.
And that's it. That's something we both know, and that's it. Oh, baby, take it slow. Oh, and that's it. Just take it nice and